Hey there, wellness family. Today I'm going to be talking about how letting go of my pride kept me afloat. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Peter Gordon and I'm a graduate student working towards what will be an eventual doctorate in clinical psychology. I also happen to be a life coach and a health and wellness coach, and I make videos on mental health, fitness, wellness, and everything I hope can help you lead your most profound life. And while you're here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you're notified each week when I post a brand new video. Also feel free to share this video, like it, comment on it, and all that good stuff. Now let's get into the heart of today's topic. So today I'm going to be talking about how letting go of my pride kept me afloat. Now when I make these videos, a lot of the times I'm talking about my own experiences, and it is my hope that you'll be able to see some parallels between my experiences and yours, which in turn will help you to make the best decision for yourself. So how did letting go of my pride keep me afloat? Now, like for millions of people, I've been hit financially hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. But I want to take you back a little bit even further than just that. So late 2018, I went through a divorce. It was an emotional roller coaster, and it was also a financial sledgehammer. I got hit very, very hard. And I took time off from work and trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do. But most importantly, I took time off just to heal. That was in late 2018. When I took time off, I realized two key things during that period. One was I did not like what I was doing, and I wanted to now find what my purpose was for being on this earth. I was trying to really dig down and to do something that I felt profoundly happy about. Just wanted to find my purpose. Number two, I also realized I had no clue how to find it. And then so for some reason in mid to late January 2019, I decided that I wanted to write a memoir. Don't know why, but I decided to write it. I did finish it, and whether or not I published it, that's another story. Whether or not it's good, that's another story. But the big story in this moment was that writing that memoir was a very cathartic experience. It allowed me the time to really unpack my thoughts and really gave me a chance to really heal and kind of come to terms with the way my life at that point had dramatically changed. But also writing the memoir in a lot of ways gave me direction in terms of what I wanted my career to look like. In a sense, it had helped me to uncover or find my purpose, which was to become a therapist and then onto a psychologist. And when I tell you that I knew that's what I wanted to do, I mean, I really knew that's what I wanted to do. And just like that, I decided to enroll and start in a graduate program in clinical mental health counseling at that point. And so I started the program in the fall of 2019. And now because I'd been out of school at that point for almost 2 decades, actually, yeah, over 2 decades, I'd done undergrad. I finished undergrad in '98. I decided that, I wanted to really dedicate my time to studying this field. I wanted to be a full-time student. So I made a choice to not work full-time. I made a choice to have a few clientele as far as personal training clients. And I also decided to take out a little bit more additional money as far as student loans so I could live off that. So the little money I'd worked from my personal training clients, plus having the student loan money, that allowed me to live and be a full-time student. And when I tell you it was the best decision I ever made, it was the best decision I ever made because it allowed me to get a 4.0. And when I say 4.0, I mean like 4.0 GPA good. And it just allowed me to really hone in and focus on learn this particular field. And what it's also done for me is allowed me to have several doctoral programs become interested in me. One in particular, if I get in early next year or sometime next year, it will be a great program because they will actually pay me a stipend to come to the school. Plus, I won't have to pay any tuition. So I really believe going full-time and dedicating myself to learning this field was the best decision I could have made for myself. And so like I said, all is going well, man. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit and everything shut down. And when you live in a place like DC, which I live in, when I say it shut down, I mean everything came to a grinding halt. Now, I'm not going to pretend and sugarcoat and act like things were so great when things shut down. Remember, I was still living off a little bit of student loans, and also I had a certain amount of clientele that helped me to kind of cover the bills. When COVID-19 hit, when the pandemic started to rage, everything shut down and all my clientele literally dried up. I mean, completely dried up. And again, majority of my clients are over 70. In fact, all of them are over 70. So they were not trying to do no training and no virtual nothing. I mean, everything dried up. And what I noticed exponentially every week, my finances was going down exponentially. I mean, every week, because DC is not a cheap place to live in. And if you're not bringing in income each month, well then whatever savings you have is going to start going down. And mine started to do that, and it started to cause a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. I'll also tell you that that period made me begin to really question whether or not I had made the right decision to go back to school. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the classes, I love the work that I'm doing, it's fascinating, I believe it's made for me. But that period made me really question had I made the right decision from a financial standpoint, because things were getting hairy. So here I am, like millions of people, trying to figure out this financial catastrophe and survive, not just financially, but physically. And so I decided to kind of tap back into my resiliency, you know, that resiliency of growing up as a poor child in Jamaica, homeless at one point. I decided to tap back into that resiliency, dig down deep and just find a way, you know, figure out how to stay on my education track, because that was important to me, and I really believe in what I'm trying to do. So I said, let me tap into this resiliency, let me figure it out, because there's always a way, right? And so I decided to apply for unemployment, and that just was taking forever. I tried again, as I said, to reach out to my clientele to see if some of them would connect with me virtually. These are people all in their 70s. They just don't get the virtual thing, so they're not doing that. I mean, so every door it seemed I tried would kind of get open a little bit and it would shut. And then the frustration set in, because now my finances are drying up, and I have to figure out how to take care of myself and my child. And then one day, into that period of trying to figure it out, a dear friend of mine reached out to me. He was just checking on me. We were talking, shooting the breeze, you know? And then he said to me out of the blue, "Hey man, how you doing financially?" And there was a small part of me, to be honest with you, that wanted to say, "I'm good, man, I'm good," because that's the pride talking, right? And I don't know why I said this, but I just said it to him. Honestly, man, I'm afraid. Like, I'm really afraid. Like, for the first time, I've never been in this position before, and I'm not quite sure what to do, and I feel like I'm running out of options. And as I'm telling him this, I hear a ping on my phone, you know, like a message had come in. And as I'm talking to him, I look at the phone, because I had my earpods in. I look at the phone, and I noticed that he had Zelled me $1,000. And I said, "Man, what did you do that for?" And he said to me, "Listen, you need the money. And I really admire how honest you are and how vulnerable you are, just how real you are." And he said, "You need the money, hold on to it, and pay me back when you can." It was in that moment I realized that dropping my pride for that moment had allowed the help that I needed to come in, right? And I remember calling up a homegirl of mine, talking about it, and I said, "You know, this happened." I mean, it was amazing. I was just very upfront with her, and I told her, and she said, and then she got quiet, and she said to me, "Hey, have you ever thought about applying for like Medicaid or like SNAP benefits or something like that?" And I remember saying, "No, I never thought about that." And she said, "Well, why not? You are a student. You got impacted through no fault of your own as far as financially. You should reach out." And I remember hanging up the phone thinking, I'm not going to do that, because, you know, I didn't come to this country to rely on anyone. But I started thinking in that moment that it was my pride talking to me again. It was really my pride talking to me in that moment. And I decided that, you know, my pride was not going to put food on my table, was not going to feed my child, and my pride was not going to get me through school. And so I decided to swallow the pride and apply for Medicaid and SNAP benefits. And the beauty of living in DC is that it's one location, so you go to one particular website and you can apply, you punch in your information, and basically they then sort of match you up with what they think you need. And to my surprise, maybe about 3 weeks later or so, I get a SNAP benefit card in the mail and Medicaid insurance, which, I mean, all of this really helped a lot, particularly, for example, the health insurance part, because if you're self-employed, you know, one thing is that it's incredibly expensive to purchase health insurance. So, I mean, all of this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't swallowed my pride, you know? And at this point, I still had not received my unemployment benefits. It had been several months, maybe 6 or 7 months at this point. I can't remember the exact amount. But long story short, while I'm still trying to wait on this, a good friend of mine, longtime friend from college, reached out to me, undergrad days that is, and we were just vibing, and he said, hey man, how are things going? I know it's got to be hard with school and not working as much and all these issues. And I said, yeah man, it's really, 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 really tight, you know, still trying to figure it out. And he just said to me, you know, hey, if I lend you 4 G's, would that help you? And I said, yeah, it would. It would actually. And it, just like my other friend before, he said, boom, here you go. He Venmo'd me this money. And it helped, you know. And again, I go back to this notion of, if I hadn't swallowed my pride, if I hadn't come to a space where I was able to let it go, I don't think the old me would have told him I was struggling, you know. I would have held on to it. I'm going to be honest with you. And there were 2 additional situations where I started to learn to really swallow my pride even more. The first one was when I realized that the unemployment thing just wasn't working. I wasn't quite sure what to do. And so I just did some research and found the council member's contact information, the council member for my area in DC here, councilwoman rather. And I said, let me just email her and just see. And so I emailed her and explained, listen, look, I have a child, these things are going on, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm not sure what you can do. I haven't had any kind of contact with unemployment. It's just, I mean, I'm on the phone waiting for hours. And to my surprise, I sent her the email, it was like a Monday night, and by Tuesday morning around 9:30, she already responded to me and was really very sort of comforting, and just said, listen, I'm sorry you have to go through this, we'll see what we can do. A week or so later, somebody contacted me from unemployment, and then it was a back and forth for another couple more weeks. But eventually I did get the unemployment, you know, and it helped. It helped to kind of keep me afloat a little bit more. Now there's still some issues of back pay because of how long it took, and that still needs to get sorted out, but it really sort of swallowed my pride, and reaching out to this particular stranger in the end helped me. The second thing, ironically enough, that I did was I decided to go and talk to my property manager. And I said to her, you know, and it was very, in a weird way, it's very tough to go and do it because here I am going in front of this stranger. And so I went up to her and I said, hey, listen, I am trying to figure out this rent thing. It's a bit difficult right now. I'm barely making payments. Is there a way we can kind of do a payment plan? And she said, yes, we can. But she also said to me, have you thought about applying for emergency rental assistance? And I'm saying to myself, like, what is that? I didn't even know that existed, to be honest with you. So she gave me the information, told me who to contact, and I did. Well, long story short, I received 2.5 months, maybe 3 months of my rent being paid. Again, it never would have happened had I not swallowed my pride and walked down to this woman's office and have a discussion with her. So that's the big thing, you know, really just swallowing that pride. Now, I'm not going to pretend now like all is suddenly well, right? Things are still tight. My old clientele, they're slowly trickling in back as they get the vaccine. It's a slow trickle back in. But I'm making it work, right? I'm making it work. But most importantly, what I have learned is that my pride that I had would not have got me the help I needed if I had held on to it. That was the big lesson I learned there. And when I learned to push aside that pride, the help came in ways I could never have imagined, you know? I still have a roof over my head, my child is fed, I'm still pursuing a career change that is really giving me tremendous joy. And again, I don't think I would have been able to do this had I not swallowed my pride. I would not have been able to stay afloat. I would have had to have probably dropped out of school and figured something else out. But swallowing my pride allowed me to come to a space where I allowed the help to come in. So I hope this video resonates with you. I hope it inspires you to, in a sense, take your pride, shove it into a box and put it away in some corner. Because if you don't do that, it will be very difficult to get the help that you need. And when you stay with that type of pride, it can drain you psychologically, physically. It's just not a good space to be in. So it's very okay. It's a good thing to take that pride. I mean, it was hard for me to do it. I'm not going to lie to you. But once I do it again, I found that the help came in. So I hope that this video helps you. And as always, family, stay well and continue to stay safe.